there's a taste in the place where the souls all shine over the glory land. Yes, a taste in the place where the souls all shine over the glory land. Yes, over in the glory land we'll join the happy angels band over the glory land. Yes, over in the glory land we'll join the happy angels band over the glory land.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Simply Wonderful Vegetarian Cooking. This is our 4th episode. Today we're going to make a few different wonderful preparations. We're going to make a vegetarian meatball. It's going to be a lentil meatball. We're going to add red peppers. We're going to add a little bit of ginger and jalapeno to it. We're going to fry it in the ghee. Then we're going to add the vegetarian meatballs to a nice tomato sauce. We're going to make that out of heavy cream. We're going to use tomato paste and we're going to use yogurt. So it's a really nice sauce, really nice spice, nice and mild, a little bit of sugar. Fantastic sauce. So we're going to make the vegetarian meatballs, put them in the sauce. We're also going to prepare a very nice vegetable dish. It's going to be made out of Karela. Now Karela is a really unique vegetable. It has a little bit of a bitter taste. It's called bitter melon. That's another name for it. We're going to add eggplant and we're going to add potatoes to the Karela and make a nice vegetable dish out of that. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar to it so it's sweet and bitter. It has a really unique taste you won't find in any other dish. We're also going to make a rice. We're going to make a nice basmati rice with some peas and a little bit of ghee. And we're also, for dessert, we're going to make a mango shake out of yogurt, sugar, a little bit of lemon juice, and a couple mangoes. So we got a lot going on today. It's going to be a really wonderful episode. So my kitchen is completely clean. I got clean clothes on, freshly bathed. I have no shoes on in the kitchen, and I'm ready to start cooking. So first thing we're going to do, the way we're going to do this is we're going to fry up the Karela and the eggplant first, because we're also going to fry the vegetarian meatballs. So first we'll get the Karela and the eggplant frying up. And then we'll go ahead and prepare the lentils for the actual mix that we're going to use to make the meatballs. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and cut the Karela up first. So this here is Karela. Very interesting vegetable. So Karela does have seeds in the middle of it. So if you fry it up with the seeds in them, they really end up being really crunchy. I kind of just like to take all the seeds out of the Karela. So I'll go ahead and do that before we start frying it. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and take my ghee. So this is ghee. In the first episode of the season, I did explain how to make this on a video. So this is where this cooking really comes together, frying things in ghee, making sauces with ghee. This is what makes this vegetarian cooking really phenomenal. You get the same, flavor that you'd want from like eating meat, but nothing has to die. You get it from, the oil of a butter. So it's really wonderful. It really takes this cooking over the top and makes it a lot different from any other cooking. So we'll go ahead and pour this into the wok here. See, I also keep one for making sauces too. So I'm going to add just a little bit of this so I have a nice amount of ghee in my fry, because we're going to be frying up a good amount of stuff here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this turned on to about a medium heat. And we'll go ahead and start taking all the seeds out of our Karela. And that's done just by pushing them out with your thumb. So this is what the Karela rings look like here after we got the seeds out of them. You will find Karela at the Indian grocery. You might be able to find it at Whole Foods. Probably won't be able to find it at Kroger or Walmart or anything, because it is kind of like a very unique vegetable. But every single Indian grocery pretty much will have Karela, bitter melon. Okay, so now I'm going to take one eggplant. I might not use this whole eggplant. That's a lot of eggplant for this vegetable dish. I'll use most of it though. Maybe save some for a stew tomorrow or something like that. So I'll just go ahead and cut it in half, the eggplant. I'm just going to make 3 cuts long ways. And we're just going to cut it into cubes. You don't want the cubes to be too small because it's going to lose some of its mass after it's fried. So this is about the size you want the eggplant. Alright, so my ghee has been heated up here for a few minutes, so we're going to go ahead and add the eggplant and Karela. They pretty much have the same consistency. They take about the same amount of time to cook, which is about 10 to 12 minutes or so. So we'll go ahead and put them right in the ghee. Take my spoon here. So I had it on medium, and that's going to cool down. Putting all these vegetables in is going to cool down the ghee a lot. So now I'm just going to go ahead and bring the ghee right up to about just under high a little bit. We'll bring it up right under high and get these vegetables cooking up real good. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and take my steam pot here. I got a little bit of water in there, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. We're going to go ahead and steam 1 potato. We're going to cut up 1 potato and steam it, and that's going to be for the Karela and eggplant vegetable dish. So we'll go ahead and turn that right on high. We'll go ahead and cut up 1 nice sized potato here. You know, nice hearty chunks. So we got 1 potato cut up. We're going to go ahead and add this to the steamer. Let that steam. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get rice prepared. I usually like to cook about 1.5 cups of rice. We're going to add some peas to it, a little bit of ghee, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of turmeric. That'll be our rice. Okay, so our eggplant and Karela are really cooking now. Now I like to use basmati rice. It's a really unique rice. It has a really wonderful fragrance, and it's definitely much longer grains than any other rice. Actually, they say that there's 2 kinds of rice. There's basmati rice and non-basmati rice. So basmati rice is very unique. It's a wonderful rice, and I use it all the time. So we'll go ahead and take 1.5 cups. All the while, I'm going to go ahead and just keep on stirring this around once in a while. It takes a little while to cook. You'll know when it's cooked. So we'll go ahead and take our 1.5 cups of basmati rice, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure my rice is real clean. I'm going to go ahead and wash it 3 times. I got my rice nice and clean, right into a rice pot here. So the formula for cooking rice is basically you just double the water amount for the rice. We got 1.5 cups. We're going to go with 3 cups of purified water. Go ahead and add it right to the rice pan here, pot here. Make sure all the rice is in there. I'm just going to go ahead and add 1 cup of peas. So it doesn't have to be exact on the ghee in the rice, but I usually put about 2 tablespoons. maybe 3 tablespoons. About half a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to go about with a teaspoon of turmeric. Okay, so I got my rice all prepared. I'm not going to go ahead and start my rice yet because we still got a little bit of cooking to do. I'm just going to go ahead and keep on stirring my Karela and eggplant here. Okay, so it's coming right along now. I'm going to go ahead and turn it down just a little bit. You want them fully cooked. It gives them a really nice flavor when the Karela is really nice and cooked. And we're keeping an eye on our potato here. That's going to be a little bit longer. I'm just going to go ahead and cover up this rice. Okay, so now let's go ahead and prepare our mix for our lentil meatball. I do have some lentils that I put in some water about 3 hours ago, so you definitely want to do that. I got a couple lentils here, and you know, it's about that much lentil, and I just filled it up to about here with water and just let it sit for about 3 hours. What that's going to do is go ahead and soften up the lentil, make it really easy to cook. So that takes about 2-3 hours. So our eggplant Karela is coming along here. So what I'm going to do is just strain the water off this, grab a strainer. Okay, I'm going to take about half of the mass of these lentils and just put it right in the food processor here. Now see, this is the kind of trick to doing this. You want to get the consistency right on them. You don't want them to be too fine, and you also don't want them to be too coarse. So, and that's kind of like where the lentil vegetarian meatballs comes together, getting consistency right on blending up the lentils. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and check on my potato here. Just take a piece out, grab a knife. Oh yeah, that's done. So I'll go ahead and take the cover off and turn it off. Okay, so I'm just going to put on the tops of the food processor here and just go ahead and blend them up a little bit. Just go ahead and take it off. Okay, I want them a little bit finer than that. Okay, I like that. It's a nice consistency on the lentil here. I'll go ahead and take the knife out here and just put these right into my bowl here. Just set everything back up and put the other half of the lentils in here and just pulse them up again. A little bit more. Yep, that'll do it. So it only takes a second. Alright, so I really like the way my Karela is looking here. I'd say we're about a minute away from being done. So I got all my lentils cut up, I got them in a bowl. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my eggplant and Karela because I like the way it looks here. It's pretty much done. So I'm going to take my potato out here. I'm gonna go, I got my potato here, my one potato steamed. I'm gonna go ahead and take this, put it aside for a minute. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and empty the rest of the water out of this pot here. Grab a strainer. We're just going to start straining the eggplant and Karela out of the wok here. Just put it right into this saucepan here. Okay, so I got all my eggplant and Karela into the saucepan here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take my one steamed potato, add it on in there. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cover it up and just not worry about it for a little bit because I want to offer it hot and I got a little bit of cooking to do. We still got to make the meatballs, make the sauce, make the rice. So that's going to take a little time. So I'll just go ahead and set it off here. Usually I don't spice the eggplant, Karela, potato, vegetable dish very much because, you know, it has a nice flavor of its own. Add a little bit of sugar, a little garam masala, a little coriander, salt, a little bit of cilantro, and that's about it. And it comes out really fantastic. So we'll go ahead and finish up our lentil meatball mix. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and grab a nice pinch of cilantro and add it to it. Okay, we got a nice amount of cilantro there. I'm going to take about a quarter cup. You don't want too much, you know, because you don't want the meatballs to be too spicy because we're also going to spice the sauce a little bit. So, you know, a nice quarter cup, nice handful of jalapeno and ginger that I did cut earlier. So usually I'll just cut everything as I'm cooking, but for the show I did cut everything ahead of time. We're going to go ahead and add one red bell pepper to the mix here. I'm going to add a quarter cup of garam masala. Quarter cup of coriander powder. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of turmeric. And I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of chili powder. Okay, so we have our mix here. I'm going to go ahead and add a quarter cup of sugar. Just a dash of lemon juice. And about a teaspoon of salt. Now I'm just going to take my cooking spoon and start mixing everything together here. So you will be able to find formal recipes on my website at paulsear.com. Also, I am performing all the music on this video, so I do have free downloads of my music as well as YouTube videos at my website, paulsear.com. I'm just going to go ahead and get in here with my hands a little bit, make sure it's all mixed up. That way I can kind of feel the texture. And I can kind of tell how much flour I'm going to need to add. Because right now, see, this is not going to stick. This is not going to make a ball. We're going to add flour that's going to bind everything together and make it, you know, so we can make nice vegetarian meatballs out of it. So I got it all mixed up here. It's got a fantastic smell. I like to use cilantro in pretty much everything. It just gives everything such a nice fragrance, and it makes everything so beautiful when it cooks. We just use cilantro in just about everything. In fact, I'm going to add just like another pinch of cilantro here. Okay, so I have all-purpose flour here. I'm just going to go ahead and put some in a measuring cup here. So I got 3/4 of a cup of flour here. And I'm just going to start adding a little bit to it and just mix it on in. Just add the rest of the flour. Okay, so I got the vegetarian meatball mix all mixed up here. And it is forming balls, so that's great. So see how it just forms a ball right now because of the flour? Gives it a nice stickiness, makes it all stick together. And when we cook it, it's also going to bind together as well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my ghee back on here. We'll go ahead and put it on medium high. Get it fired up here. And I'm just going to start taking, you know, little bits of the mix here and making nice sized meatballs here and just setting them aside. These are also known as kofta balls. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this down just a little bit. I can tell it's really hot. I don't have anything in it yet, so no point in it being on medium high. I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to medium. Okay, so I got a nice batch of vegetarian meatballs here ready to go into the ghee. Just put them right in. Be nice and delicate with them. You can fit a lot of meatballs in one batch here. I'm going to get these started and then I'm going to just start, you know, you want them to be all go in about the same time, but I could probably add another 4 or 5 to this first batch here without even worrying about it. Looks like we're going to get this done in about 2 batches, probably about 25 meatballs or so. And putting the meatballs in there, kind of cooled the ghee off a little bit, so I'm just going to bring it up a little bit above medium. I don't really want to mess with the vegetarian meatballs yet. I want it to form a nice skin before I start messing with them. So I'm just going to let them cook up. You know, make sure they're all in the ghee and do that very, very gently. Okay, yeah, they've already got a nice little skin on them, so they're not going to fall apart. So we'll just go ahead and let these cook up. Doesn't take very long, 6, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. And they might look like they're like, you want them to be nice and hard before you take them out. Otherwise, in the sauce, they'll fall apart. So they might seem like they're like a little bit too hard when you're cooking them. When they're actually done, they might seem a little too hard, but they're actually not. When you put them into the tomato sauce, they're going to soften up. So we'll just keep our spoons, just kind of stir them around a little bit, see how they're doing. I'm going to go ahead and get another batch here prepared, and then we're going to go ahead and make our sauce. Just a little bit above medium's a nice temperature. They're cooking up pretty nice, and I don't really have to worry about them overcooking. Okay, so I got my second batch. I'm gonna go ahead and keep an eye on this batch. Yep, they're starting to cook up real good here. I'm not so much worried about them overcooking too much, you know, as long as the temperature is at the right temperature here. But I don't want to undercook them, because then it just they all fall apart in the sauce. That's no good. So sometimes I'll just grab one, let's see how it's doing. Yeah, it's getting there. Maybe another 2 or 3 minutes or so. We'll go ahead and get our sauce prepared here. So I'm just going to make this saute for the sauce the same way I do pretty much all the other sauces for my stews, for my, you know, chutney sauces, dipping sauces. I'm just going to go ahead, take a nice generous amount of ghee here, pour it on the bottom, and I'll cover up the whole bottom. So yeah, if you've watched any of my other episodes, you've seen that this is pretty much the way I make a saute across the board here. So we're going to go ahead and add about an 1/8 of a cup of mustard seeds, and we're going to go turn it on high and go ahead and get these mustard seeds sputtered. So sometimes I'll just take take one of the vegetarian meatballs out, just cut it in half, see how it's doing in the middle. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty much done. So to give this sauce a really nice flavor, we're going to go ahead and add 1 cup of coconut to it, shredded coconut. I'm going to go ahead and mix this all up. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to about medium. Just shake it a little bit, make sure everything's even on the bottom. So yeah, just about medium. And I'm gonna be stirring this just about every minute. Okay, so I mean, what's the most tender thing in here is the coconut. If it's getting brown too fast, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down, because what I wanna do is cook the flavor of the jalapeno, the coconut, and the ginger into the ghee, because that's gonna give the sauce the flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my time of doing that. If I think it's too hot, like right now, yeah, it's a nice temperature. Maybe just a little bit too hot. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down. Just a drop below medium. I'm just gonna let this cook up. Yeah, so that's cooking along real nice right now. Just regularly stirring it, just about every half a minute to a minute or so. Keep an eye on that coconut. Okay, we're getting pretty close now, so I'm going to go ahead and start my rice. I'm going to take the cover off, set it off to the side, and I'm just going to bring it up to high. Alright, so now I got my ghee preheated here. It's about, you know, it's pretty hot. It's not too hot. A little bit below medium. And I'm going to go ahead and add my second batch of vegetarian meatballs, also known as koftas. Once I get them in there, it's going to cool off the ghee pretty quick. You know, just make sure the form is nice before you put them in there, obviously. So if they look like they've fallen apart a little bit, just go ahead and, you know, squeeze them in your hand, form them back up. So right now, I thought they were cooking a little bit too fast, so I'm bringing it down to low. I'm going to get this down to a more manageable temperature, because I don't want them to really cook too fast on the outside, because I want them to cook on the inside. So in the same way we did in the first batch, I'm going to go ahead and just start making some up and just adding it to it. Alright, so now the temperature's a little bit more manageable. I'm just going to bring it back up to about medium. A little bit under medium. Just get the rest of this in here. With meatballs, you don't really need to have a super amount of ghee, because they're not really that, you know, of a wide width, so you don't really need a whole lot of ghee to cover on. Yeah, about 15 you know, nice sized meatballs is about what you want to do per batch. So 1 cup of lentil and the ingredients I added made 2 batches at about 15 meatballs, so about 30 meatballs. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and stir this up one time. I'm pretty much happy with this. I take my spoon, move them around a little bit. Alright, so I got them all in here. They're cooking. I'm going to go ahead and bring my temperature up to a little bit above medium. Just really get them cooking here. So I really want to get the vegetarian meatballs cooking really good. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to a medium high, because like I said earlier, I don't want to take these out until they have a nice thick skin on them. Because if you do take them out and they don't have a thick skin on them, what's going to happen is they're just going to fall apart in your sauce. You don't want that. So, see, nice thick skin. That's not going to fall apart when I put it in my sauce. So I'm at medium high right now, a little bit closer to high. Got my rice going here. All right, now let's go ahead and finish up this sauce. I got it on low right now just because it's cooked as much as I want it to be. And I didn't want it to overcook while I was doing a few other things here, so I brought it down to low. Now I'm gonna bring it back up to medium or so, and I'm gonna start adding my spices. So, you know, for garam masala and coriander, about, you know, a quarter cup is usually pretty good. That was my garam masala. I'm gonna add about a light quarter cup of coriander. Same way, I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of turmeric. And about a half a teaspoon again of chili pepper. I'm gonna stir everything up and just let the spices roast in the ghee for about 1 minute. And it's on medium right now. And I'm just watching out for my meatballs here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add a half a pint of heavy cream here. I'm going to add 1 container of Dannon plain yogurt. And it doesn't have to be Dannon, but I'm going to go ahead and mix everything up here. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 can of tomato paste. For those of you who are making spiritual offerings of your meal, some tomato pastes have onions and garlic in it, and then some do not. So this tomato paste does not have any onions and garlic in it, and generally onions and garlic are not offered when you're making spiritual offerings. So we'll go ahead and add the 1 can of tomato paste. So just be careful on the ingredients. We'll go ahead and take the tomato paste and add it to the sauce we're building here. There. We want to get a nice skin on them. They're definitely done, but we want a nice skin on them before we take it out. And I'm going to go ahead and mix this in. I can tell this is a lot thicker than I want it, so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and grab some purified water, and we'll go ahead and measure it out. I'm going to go ahead and add about a cup. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that does. Oh yeah. I don't want it to be too thin, but I also don't want it to be too thick, so just mix the paste right in there. Just about another minute here. Just go ahead and mix it right on in. Paste is going to take a little bit of work to mix in. I'm going to add just a little bit more water, just maybe about half a cup. Okay, I like that. It's a nice sauce. Alright, so now I'm just going to take my first batch of meatballs, put them right in the sauce. And I'm going to grab my other batch here, which are done. transfer them to the sauce as well. You kind of want them to look like a little bit too hard to eat, because what's going to happen is when they're in the sauce soaking, they're going to soften up a lot. And you know, if you take them out of the ghee the way you think that you'd want them to be if you were going to consume them, it's going to be too soft and they're going to fall apart in the sauce. So basically a little harder than you would think. You know, obviously you don't want them to be completely charred burnt. You want to be a little bit harder than you'd think if you were going to eat them. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my ghee because I'm done cooking with the ghee for today. And I got my second batch of meatballs here. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the sauce. So my rice is starting to boil. I'm just going to go ahead and give it one last stir. And go ahead and cover it up. It's on high right now. I'm going to bring it down to a little under medium, and I'm going to keep a close eye on it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and stir in our meatballs into our sauce here. Get them nice and saturated. It does not need to be on high heat right now because we are pretty much done cooking everything. Get the sauce nice and hot and then just bring it down to medium low. I'm going to go ahead and add a nice pinch of cilantro to the sauce. I'm going to take the rest of my cilantro, drop it in my eggplant, Karela, and potato subji. Now this is, and if you watch any of my other videos, you know what this is. This is hing, it's asafoetida. It's an onion and garlic and substitute. It does have a very potent flavor, so I'm going to go ahead and meter out how much I'm going to put in about a half a teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead and add a quarter cup of lemon juice to the sauce. I'm going to go ahead and add a tablespoon of salt. Now I'm just going to go ahead and stir it all in together. And that's about it. We are done. We're just going to let the kofta balls, the vegetarian meatballs, soften up a little bit. Just really beautiful with the cilantro in it. Just looks fantastic. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and keep a close eye on my rice. Now, what I like to do to just test my rice is to just go ahead and take my spoon and I'll go ahead and lift up the cover and just bring it down to the top, bottom. Okay, I can tell how it's cooking. So it's doing well, just on a little bit below medium. Now I won't want to keep it there completely. I'm going to leave it on, you know, just a little bit below medium for about another 4 or 5 minutes, okay? And then I'm just going to bring it down to completely low for maybe another 3 minutes and then just turn it off completely. Now if the cover's on it, it'll keep on cooking even after you completely taken the heat off it, because the steam, a lot of energy there, it's going to go ahead and just keep on cooking a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add sugar to both of my vegetable dishes here. I'm going to go ahead and put about a half a cup of sugar, a light half a cup of sugar in the sauce for the vegetarian meatballs. I'm going to put a quarter cup in the eggplant, Karela, and potato vegetable dish. I'm going to put about 1/8 a cup of garam masala in the eggplant Karela dish. 1/8 of a cup of coriander. Just a little bit, I don't really spice it that much. And we're going to go ahead and add about a teaspoon of salt. Go ahead and mix the sugar into the meatball sauce here. Okay, that's smelling really fantastic. Alright, so now I'm going to just bring my rice temperature down to about medium low. Doesn't need to be very high right now. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and finish up my eggplant, Karela, and potato sabji. Alright, I tested my greens and my rice. Just take a couple grains and squeeze it in your hands, and you'll know when it's done. It'll be completely tender. You won't feel that it's hard. So mine are completely done here, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the fire altogether. And I got my fire on low on the sauce here. Okay, so I like the way this vegetarian meatball dish has come out here, and it's completely done. I'm just going to go ahead and turn the flame off it altogether. I'm going to put a cover on it, let it cool down a bit, and I'll set it off to the side, and we're going to go ahead and just finish up our eggplant Karela here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the fire to about medium. Everything's already cooked pretty much. I mean, you don't have to cook the cilantro. All we want to do is just like heat everything up, mix it up, and it'll be done as well. Just level everything out. Just a little bit under medium. Alright, now that I got the temperature up real nice, I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to just about a little bit under low. And this is done. We have completely finished it. It's that simple. Looks fantastic, smells terrific. I'm going to add about another, I'm going to go ahead and add another about 1/8 of a cup of sugar at the end here. Maybe just a dash of hing. Mix that all in together. So that's it. Eggplant, Karela, and potato vegetable dish, also known as a sabji. Really simple to make, has a really unique flavor with the bitter melon, and it's nice and sweet with the sugar. Really a fantastic dish. So I'm going to go ahead and get it covered up, just turn it off, set it off to the side. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make our dessert drink. It's going to be a mango and yogurt and lemon juice milkshake. So it's a phenomenal drink. It's called lassi, so mango lassi. We're going to make that for our spiritual offering. If you did want to find out a few of the concepts of making spiritual offerings of your food, you can go to my website. I do have a video up there that explains all concepts in the lifestyle of somebody who's going to be making these spiritual offerings over their food. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I like to go ahead and take 2 nice mangoes. Now, I noticed that it's important to get the kind of ripeness right when you're making lassi. You don't want it to be too ripe. Obviously, you don't want it to be unripe either, because then you're not going to get the sweetness. But if it's too ripe, it's going to be stringy even after you do blend it up. So try to get somewhere like right in the middle. These are not too ripe, but you know, not completely green on the inside. They're still going to be very sweet, but they're not so ripe that they're going to be stringy even after we blend them up. So I'm going to go ahead and get these peeled, and then we'll get started with the lassi drink. Okay, so I got both the mangoes peeled. I just used a peeler. Now, if you got the ripeness right, you should be able to just peel them with a peeler. If they're a little bit too ripe, you're not going to be able to do that. You'll have to, you know, just grab a piece and just peel it off regularly. So I'll go ahead and get these cut up, and then we'll go ahead and get started here. So I'm just cutting around the seed, you know. Okay, so I got 2 mangoes cut up. We're going to go ahead and put it right in the blender. I'm going to go ahead and take a whole thing of yogurt here, add it to the blender. I'm going to take about 1/2 cup of sugar in the blender. a half a cup of lemon juice. In the blender. And I'm just gonna add about a cup of water. Put the top on. Got everything in there. So we're just gonna go ahead and turn on the blender and get it blended up here. I start out at low speed and just work my way up here. Okay. There we go, we got our mango yogurt shake. Just smells phenomenal. With the lemon and the mango, just really wonderful. All right, so we'll go ahead and set this off to the side. If you want, you could drop a few ice cubes in it. I mean, generally that's how people drink it, cold. And it's also fantastic, you know, at room temperature as well. Okay, so we got everything complete. I'm going to go ahead and make my spiritual offering. Like I said earlier, if you want to find out some of the concepts of making spiritual offerings of your food, please go to my website, paulsear.com. I did a whole video on the, you know, the lifestyle of somebody who's going to make spiritual offerings of their food. So, okay, let's go ahead and get our plate made up. I'll go ahead and take a nice measuring cup and we'll go ahead and get started here with the vegetarian meatballs, the lentil vegetarian meatballs. Just smell wonderful. Now you can see the meatballs have completely softened up now. So you may be wondering, you know, a vegetarian meatball, how is it going to have the same, you know, zest and flavor of a regular meatball, you know, made out of meat? Well, it's cooking with ghee. When you cook with ghee, you're actually getting the animal fat that you want, that you're craving from the meat. You're actually getting it in just a more subtle way. And so, you know, it tastes just as phenomenal as, you know, that fatty taste you'd want in a regular meatball because of the ghee. So, you know, that's the secret of this vegetarian cooking. You cook with ghee and you get the same satisfaction that you would if you were eating, you know, a steak or something like that, and nothing has to die. So, you know, it's a wonderful way to eat. It's a more refined way of just getting the satisfaction of eating animal products. So we'll go ahead and get our meatballs on there. I'm going to go ahead and just take a few really nice meatballs and okay, so I'll put these right on the plate here. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the rice on the plate. Get a nice amount of peas on there. I got the rice on the plate. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get the potato, Karela, and eggplant subji on the plate here. Get a nice amount of everything on there. Go ahead and take my mango lemon yogurt shake here. Fill up my glass with that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put a spoon in here. And there we go, we got a real nice offering for the Lord here. We got the lentil vegetarian meatball in the nice cream sauce with the yogurt and the tomato paste. We got the fantastic, really unique vegetable dish with Karela, eggplant, and potatoes. And we got the rice with the peas, a little turmeric, and some ghee, along with the dessert drink of lemon mango yogurt shake. All right, so this came out really fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and make the offering to the Lord. Like I said earlier, if you'd like to find out some of the concepts of making spiritual offerings of your food, you can go to my website. I do have a video. I made a whole video about the, a 10-minute video about the lifestyle of somebody who's going to be making these spiritual offerings of their food. Now, I am going to put formal recipes up of everything that you saw here on the show. There's going to be formal recipes at my website. Also, I'm playing all the music on this video. So if you'd like to find out a little bit more about my music, I do have free downloads of my music up at my website as well as YouTube videos. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week's episode is going to be really fantastic. We're going to go ahead and make pizza from scratch. We're going to make a fantastic dough. We're going to make our own mozzarella, make a tomato sauce. So we're also going to make a really nice ice cream. We're going to make a strawberry ice cream. It's going to have cherries in it. So that's going to be a fantastic dish. Along with the pizza right from scratch. I'm going to show you how to make mozzarella. I'm going to show you how to make a fantastic pizza dough, as well as a really nice fresh pizza sauce. So we're going to have a lot of fun next week. I hope you can join me. Once again, I am Paul Sear, and thanks for tuning in to this episode.